Eddie Berganza, who's the editor of Superman, Batman, and many other good books, came to me and asked me if I wanted to do something for Superman, Batman. He said, the way we're doing it is we're looking at old, great stories that might inspire us. I said, okay, so when I was a kid, there was this really cool, dopey Superman of the future meets Batman of the future in World's Finest. And I showed him the dumb old cover that I loved when I was 10 years old. And I think Eddie suggested doing it with Batman Beyond and Superman Beyond, and we took it from there. Cool. Thank you for the kind words.
I just have a question for Jim Lee. Do you think that digital comics will affect more than just the way comics are distributed? Do you think it'll affect how comics are written, and crossovers and all that?
Crossovers? Well, definitely affect the way they're written. I mean, in a sense, if you're digital, if you're downloading to your computer generally is in a landscape mode, and so they're wider and taller. And that would actually be the optimal way to create digital comics. But I mean, historically, they've been taller than wider. So you have to kind of break that mindset. And there are all these poly bags and backing boards that are, I guess you could just turn them sideways. Anyway, so take that back. But I think there's a lot of stuff that will have to change. I mean, I think fonts have to be a little larger, probably fewer panels per page. But again, I would never want to dictate that. I mean, it really is the creativity of the creators. I'm sure there's a creator that could do a 16-panel page digitally and make it work, and make it work, and actually make the fact that you can't read every dialogue balloon crisply and clearly actually play to a creative purpose if they came up with it. So there's all these different ways of tackling the same problem, and I'd hate to say there's one way of solving it. So, but yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, there are certain things you could do to optimize it for the digital space and digital devices.
Cool, thanks.
Next.
It's not so much a question, just so much as a thank you. It's for Jerry Robinson. I think it's one of the things that a lot of people tend to forget about, especially the way comics are today. But thank you for Robin. I think everybody, especially the way the movies are, Robin almost seems as a non-entity to Hollywood, but to all of us here, Robin really is a big deal. And to kind of drive that across, Dan actually had a bit of a field day with me about 1.5 years ago. I got out of the hospital right around the time Nightwing got canceled, and he decided to come into my shop and give me a little, have a little fun with me and say, I hear you're in the hospital because Dick Grayson got canceled. Enjoy that one, Dan.
Thank you.
But Mr. Robinson, thank you.
Next.
So, just a real quick thank you to Jeanette and to Paul, and for you guys for just having the courage to kill on Superman while it happened. That was actually my first book, was The Death of Superman, and that just started my love for DC ever since. That's why I got this awesome tattoo, because of this company. I happen to have this on me. But my question is, when you guys came up with Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth, what was the whole behind that? Was it that you just want to clean house and start over again, or did you just say, okay, we're going to do something completely different, or what was going on with that?
At the time, we had so many parallel Earths, and something could happen on Earth 1, but be totally different on Earth 27. I mean, you could die on one Earth, but be resurrected on another, and it just didn't make the stakes real. And we wanted to make every life and every death in the DC universe matter. And so that's why we created Crisis, to collapse all those Earths and make one Earth where everything was significant.
Next.
Sure,
Jerry.
I want to let the one Robin fan in the audience.
Hey, wait a minute, they were just thanking me for not letting them kill Dick Grayson, so that means there's more than one fan if they didn't want him dead.
The true story of the origin of Robin, and the name particularly, there were many stories told by certain people the name. It came from the bird robin, was one that I heard that was written about. But Robin was my name, which I got from my boyhood hero stories of Robin Hood. And that inspired the name, and I wanted a name that was very unsuperhero type, as in keeping with the real character of the strip of Batman, who was not a superhero with superpowers. And the boy shouldn't either. So we vetoed a lot of names that were that suggested superpowers. And so I came up with Robin, which kind of sounded like a real name, and yet was fitted. It went together with Batman and Robin. The costume I derived from N.C. Wyeth's, the great illustrator, depiction of his portrayal of Robin. It was in a classic book that I was given when I still have that book, by the way. It was given to me when I think I was 12 or 13 years old. So I knew every story and I knew every illustration in that book by heart. And so when we came to designing the costume, that's the one I thought of, because I knew it so intimately. So the name and the costume both came from Robert Hunt.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. We've got time, unfortunately, for only one more question, so I hope it's a doozy.
For Jeff Jones, as a Mummified lover, look forward to seeing Dexter versus Streaky.
Absolutely.
I'm required by law to give one more plug to the 75-year Taschen book that will be available this fall for a very large price, but it's a very large